Welcome back to the University of Life and yet another brand new course. This one kind of derives from one of our new taglines, our new sign-offs, which is be your best self, live your best life. And to be perfectly honest, you don't need a lot of lessons of more things you need to learn and insights in order to do that. What you do need is sort of the opposite of that, actually, because if you look at who you are, your talents, your traits, your whatever courage you've got, your abilities and the opportunities surrounding you, objectively speaking, you could start right now and live an incredible life. So that's the objective view around you from the outside. But once you jump to the inside and we take a look out through your eyes, through your subjective experience of life, it's usually, if you're like most people, it's a very different story, because they're not things you need to learn. They're mostly things you need to unlearn. The blocks, the fears, the constraints that you impose upon yourself, the risks that you feel, that's what holds you back. Now, the other lessons, all my self-help, self-improvement titles I put out, they're very useful and they can help you take steps to implement being your best self, and I really believe in them. But the course we're going to cover in this course, the topic is really all about the others, about the unlearning your barriers, unlearning your inhibitions and whatever. And for that one, we're going to use this book, Heal Your Emotions, which you can find, by the way, at uoflife.com/books or bit.ly/heal-emotions. And the ebook version is only $5.99, super cheap for like multiple decades of experience and insight, all written into a very accessible volume here. So let me introduce you to this, and then I'm going to start. We're going to teach you one of the most important skills, one of the really valuable ones that's kind of the foundation for many other ones in this book. So it starts out by helping you learn how to use your intuition. Now, intuition has several different definitions. One of them is just like a really good guess, or just working off your feeling. But I've got a definition that I really like. I think it's really useful, not just accurate. There's multiple accurate ways you could define it, but really useful. And that is that inside your head, you've got your train of thought, your inner voice. This is your conscious mind, maybe a constant stream of flow of consciousness you've got on there, having discussions with yourself all the time. So that's your consciousness. Now, other than that, you've also got your subconscious mind, you've got your feelings, you've got your body, you've got external things that may influence you. And what I define intuition as is your conscious ability to recognize those other influences, those subconscious thoughts, and to define them, to understand them, comprehend them correctly, to interpret them accurately. And once you can do that, then it's not just understanding, it also teaches you how you can influence them, how you can change them. So that's, I think, what the subtitle for this class should be, this course, How to Change Your Mind, because that's what most people need most by far. If you want to make this world an awesome place, this is a great skill to begin it with. So I'm just going to jump to page 40 here. And by the way, it's got like, how many chapters? 12 chapters. And within them, there's tons of other little chapters, lots of relatively short ones, and memes and pictures and quotes and everything. A lot of variety in there. And every chapter has a couple stories that go along with it that illustrate it, that show these skills being used in real life, or at least in the lives of these fictional characters, but they're very relatable. So I think they're helpful and entertaining and stuff. So, all right, so the skill I'm going to teach you right now, I call blending. And this is one of the most valuable, useful, effective ways to change your mind and get rid of the negatives and the fears and the things that hold you back that most people struggle, frankly, with for their entire lives. They don't know how to get rid of them. And sometimes the more you focus on them, the stronger they get if you do it wrong. So I'm going to teach you how to do it right and how you can actually get those to just melt away. Like the joy that you feel when you shave off a layer of this, It's wonderful. You look outside and suddenly the world is full of like intricate detail and rich, vibrant colors because you're so present. And you wonder, where was this world 5 minutes ago? It was always there, but again, your subjective worldview often blocks how abundantly rich the opportunities are that surround you in every millisecond of your existence. It's like Arnold Patton said. He says, we don't create abundance. Abundance is always present. We create limitations. That is so true. Or one of my favorite quotes I came up with is, abundance says, there is always everything. And it's true. And anyway, we'll help you get that point where you start seeing the world that way, and then you can take advantage of those opportunities. So I'm just going to read you half of this chapter on blending, which explains it. And then we'll talk about implementing it a little bit. I'll make up some homework for you so that you can begin to practice and develop those skills. And of course, pick up the book, read through, practice all the skills. It'll walk you step by step. I mean, this is 40 pages in, so you've got a lot of support to bring you up to being able to do this as well. I don't start you right off with this, which is not really difficult, but it's not super easy for people either. So I give you help just in case. All right, blending. This is chapter 2.19. This ability to combine a positive thought with a negative one and let them influence each other is called blending. By feeling two emotions at once, one positive and the other one negative, your brain creates connections between the two, and the positive emotion often erases the negative. A favorite illustration of this technique was shared by a counselor friend of mine, Natalie, who was working with a teenage girl. On one hand, the girl was captain of the school soccer team, and while on the field, she felt confident, bold, competent, and powerful. On the other hand, when this girl walked down the halls at school, she felt self-conscious, uncomfortable, and small. Maybe you can relate to something like that. My friend asked her client to first get a solid hold on the confidence and power she felt on the field. This is very important. Don't work on things only on the negative. Don't dive into the bad too much. Keep a grip on the positive, on the hopeful, on the good, on the strong. It will make things go so much faster for you, and it'll work a lot better, and you won't risk so much getting lost in that, because I've seen a lot of people dive into this and it really kind of turns their world upside down. The negative emotions just pour out, and it can be kind of scary to handle. So if you ever feel that way, don't worry. You know, you're diving in, you're making progress. Get some support, or keep going, right? If you're going through hell, keep going. So get a solid hold on the confidence and power she felt on the field. Once she had this firmly in place, she was directed to simultaneously think of walking down the hallway and observe those feelings. The conscious brain can only think one single train of thought at a time, but you can experience multiple emotions at once. As the girl observed both states together, her brain built new connections between them. And by the way, the scientific term for this building new neural connections, neural pathways, is called branching. From then on, whenever the girl felt self-conscious, it would also trigger her confidence, because those states are now linked together by holding on to them together. Or at least she found it easier to evoke that. Eventually, the less pleasant negative feelings disappear when their inactive neural connections disconnect, and the technical term for that is called pruning. You can blend any positive and negative feelings. If you don't love to play soccer, simply imagine relaxing in a hot tub, laying comfortably in the sunshine or shade, winning the class spelling bee, or whatever positive experience or feeling you care to muster. And it walks you through the individual steps just in a little bit more detail to help you walk through that. So what I'm going to suggest is that you give this a try right now, because if you'll do that, if you'll take even like 90 seconds, a minute and a half, certainly you can spare that. If you try this out, now this new concept is in your head, and it'll be there for you, and you could, when next time you're on a commute or bored or you can't fall asleep or something, or feeling rotten and you want to help fix it, if you practice this, you're going to branch. You're going to create some new neural connections, and you'll remember it. If you just say, oh, it makes perfect sense, I don't need to try it, there's a good chance you're going to forget, because you need to exercise these new connections to make them strong and make them more durable and lasting. So pause the video and remember, step one, find your happy place. Find your positive, hopeful, strong, courageous, lucky, whatever it is, whatever positive thing you want to experience, and get a really good hold on that. By the way, even if you stop at just step one right there, so useful, because as you exercise that state, it'll become more strong as well, and it'll displace other states that you may experience. So I highly recommend even taking the first step. So important. Who was it that said, there are only two mistakes you can make in life? First, to not go all the way. And second, to not begin. So at least take that first step. All right, step two, once you've got your good positive feeling, now reach out and with your mind and experience some of that negative. Think of the scary situations or the way you don't feel completely empowered or whatever it is, and let yourself feel that. But feel both of them together. Always keep a hand on that positive, because that's what we're gonna blend. Remember, that's the whole purpose. I mean, if you just dive into the negative, it does serve a purpose, because you bring up that emotion, you make it more conscious, and the conscious mind is an amazing problem solver. By the way, early chapters talk all about how your brain works, your conscious, your subconscious, how they work together, how they don't, and how you can use them for best effect. So you make it conscious, and you might start figuring things out, but it works a lot better if you've got that positive on the other hand, guiding to find those better solutions. And your brain will gravitate toward the one that feels better. That's something I witnessed thousands of times, working both on myself, because I had plenty of practice, and also working with a lot of other people and watching the way the connections happen for them. Very effective. So pause the video, or when the video's over, give that a try, and then continue to use it. Subscribe, like the video, comment, so that you don't miss out on future videos, because I've got thousands of tips and little techniques, well, hundreds at least, maybe 1,000 in here, and I'm going to teach you a lot of them so you can practice, so you can live a satisfying best life however you want to define that. And then the next chapter, as I said, it's a story that kind of illustrates it. Brittany stood before the bathroom mirror and stared at her face and figure in its reflection. "What doesn't he see in me?" she whispered to herself. Anyway, and it goes on and on. So thanks for watching this video. I'm excited to bring you a lot more of these things. I have this bad habit of just always creating more content. I published 2 significant self-improvement books last year, and I'm well over halfway into my next one. But I've been thinking about this. I need to make a lot more use of the material I've already got. So I can just turn on the camera, flip open to any chapter, and we can have a little discussion, teach you some new skills. So let me just end this video, by telling you that I don't know you personally, but I know people well enough to say that I believe in you, and there's a lot of good in you, and you deserve to have the best life you can possibly manage. And there are ways you can accomplish that, and it's not as hard as we usually make it, not nearly as hard. So be your best self, live your best life, live smart, live happy, and let me make some videos to help show you how you can accomplish that. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. Cheers. Welly.